David, back in action, November the 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, defending your WBC light heavyweight title against Anthony Yarde. On British shores, this was a fight that came seemingly out of nowhere. Usually you get the trickle down of reports weeks and months in advance. From your perspective, how did this fight come about and how quickly did it come about?
So we were just we were in line to fight Bivol,
Mhm.
because we're the number one ranked in the WBC, and unfortunately that fight didn't play out. So we got the WBC. They basically elevated us to world champion, and I was just trying to make the best fights happen. There's a lot of good fights, so I was just kind of looking down the list. Obviously, Beterbiev was taken at the time because he was going to rematch Bivol. So we're just looking to see who was the best fights around there. So we were looking at Callum Smith and everybody else, and then Anthony Yarde just kind of just came into the play. And I thought I was gonna fight, Callum Smith, to be honest with you. But then the fight with Anthony Yarde is kind of manifested itself. So, but it's a good fight. Anthony Yarde, he's a tough friend. He's fought, he's had a great fight with Artur Beterbiev, had a great fight with Kovalev. So he's a strong fighter, strong competitor, and I know he's going to be coming 100% ready for the fight. So this is definitely a great fight for the fans because both of us, we don't run away from it, from anybody. Anthony Yarde and myself included. We're basically going to be like two bulls in there, going at it. So it's going to be a great fight.
You mentioned Callum Smith there, another Brit. He was obviously, as you say, in line for this fight. Why did it become Yard? Why was it not Smith?
I don't know. It's reasons. That's reasons on their end.
Mm.
Everything was ready to go. Like I said, we thought everything was ready to go, but I don't know. I felt like I don't know why they pulled out. Because we had made them an offer. So whatever reasons that they had, it's reasons unknown. That you'd have to talk to them about that. But
Mm.
yeah, they pulled out of the fight.
Wow, wow, I didn't know that. This is obviously a massively fan-friendly matchup. You're not a guy who likes to go looking for your opponents, neither does Anthony Yarde. Um, Expectations here that this is going to be a real cracker.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a great fight. Like I said, Anthony Yarde, he's a pressure fighter, comes forward. Myself, I'm a pressure fighter that comes forward as well. And we both have a lot to prove this fight. I want to prove, I want to get a better victory than Artur Beterbiev did. I want to make more of a statement than he did against Anthony Yarde. And Anthony Yarde, this is I think, his third attempt at a world title. So he's working extremely hard. I know he knows that there's a lot at stake at this fight. I know there's a lot at stake at this fight. Been working almost 4.5 months. So I'm 100% ready for this fight. And I definitely want to make a statement.
Mm. How frustrated have you been with the situation at light heavyweight? You had obviously your own issues at super middleweight with Canelo, which we'll of course touch upon later. But you're next in line to Bivol. He then sustains this injury. Then there's talks about a trilogy with Beterbiev. Have you been told explicitly that you will fight the winner of that third fight? And to be honest with you, whether or not that third fight goes ahead, because we don't know at this stage.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know, man. Like I said, I just take it one fight at a time. As you guys have seen, I've been going through these problems with, like even at 168, where they say I'm the next person to face Canelo, and then that never happens. So I don't know, man. I'm just at the end of the day, I just got to do what I'm doing, keep winning these fights, and keep trying to fight the best opponents available. The good thing is that right now we're in a good position. There's a lot of great opponents out there. After this fight with Anthony Yarde, it's very possible that we can make a fight happen with Surdo Ramirez.
Mm.
So if the fight with Beterbiev or Bivol doesn't happen, so there's another option. Like I said, for me, the accolades means a lot to me, and going up to cruiserweight and fighting for two more belts would
Wow.
definitely be something great. A great task to my resume. So if the fight with Bivol doesn't happen after this fight, then you know what I mean. Like I said, there's a lot of good options.
Mm. So, I mean, that fight, obviously, he now operates the cruiserweight. You're talking about moving up to cruiserweight. Do you see yourself jumping up to 200 pounds and then jumping back down again? How would that work out? I know it's easy to sort of theoretically think about it.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. I wanna I wanna defend my titles at 175 for a long, long time. But if there's an opportunity to go up to cruiserweight and capture two more belts, why would I not take that opportunity? So that's definitely I would definitely go up, but I would definitely come right back down because my main focus is unifying all the belts at 175, and that's been my dream. I I want to be a undisputed world champion, and that's definitely what I'm going after.
You've proven time and time again that you will fight anyone, anywhere, time. So I'm not massively surprised by your willingness to do that. Dimitri Bivol, you know him fairly well. I believe you sparred quite a few times. There were rumors that you hurt him. What can you tell us about those sparring sessions?
Yeah, it was a great sparring session. We sparred a lot. I was training in California, Los Angeles, while he was training there. I think I've sparred him from like 19 yeah, 19 all the way until I was like 22 years old. So he's a great fighter, man. I don't take nothing away from him, but I did hurt him in that sparring session. The last sparring session we had, I did hurt him. But like I said, I give credit to where credit's due. Dimitri Bivol is a great fighter. He's very smart. He's very technical, and but I feel like I can beat him. I hurt him in sparring, so I know if I hurt somebody in sparring, I could definitely hurt him in the fight.
That's interesting because sometimes you hear people talk about how, sparring's different to a fight, but you're saying that, there is some influence that sparring does somewhat play into how a fight will play out.
It's funny because the people that say that sparring is nothing, it's not the same thing as they're the people that never stepped in the boxing. I hear this time and time again, oh, this is practice. Like, bro, if I have my way with somebody in sparring, you don't think I'd be able to do that the same thing in the fight? Like, this is what I do. I've been boxing for my whole life. And obviously, if you could feel like you hurt somebody in a fight, if you take that same technique and take the same, whatever it is that you do in that sparring session and do it in a real fight, you have smaller gloves on in the real fight. You could hurt them, it's a bigger chance that you could hurt them if you do the same thing. So, like I let the people talk, say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they've never stepped in the ring. They don't even train themselves, so they don't even know what they're talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, this Canelo fight, it seems like it's inevitable that he's going to be mentioned at some point in one of your interviews. I'm sure you're getting very frustrated about that. Have you given up complete hope in that fight?
No, I haven't given up complete hope in that fight. I feel like until he retires and he's out of the sport of boxing, there's always going to be a possibility of that fight being made, and for good reason. Because at the end of the day, what other fights is there left for Canelo to fight? And now it seems like I got the cards in my hands. He doesn't have any belt to 168, and I have a belt at 175, and I'm planning to get all the belts at 175. So this, in boxing, you always need a storyline. So, this storyline is a great storyline now. He could come up to 175. He says he's chasing greatness. So he did what he did at 168. So now why not come up to 175 and do the same thing? And I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna keep winning. So, until he retires and he's out of the sport, everybody's gonna be mentioning this fight. It doesn't matter to me. I actually, I like it. You know what I mean? It gives people something to hope for in the future. I don't know when this fight might happen. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I feel like we might be getting closer and closer to it. Because, like I said, I got the cards in my hand. Canelo doesn't have no belts anymore, and if we do know something about Canelo, that we know 100% that he fights for money, and this is one of the biggest money fights in boxing. So, there's still hope in there.
Absolutely. I assume there would be no leeway for you to come down to 168. You were a massive super middleweight.
Yeah, no. Like I said, it's in my best interest to give myself the best chance to win. I was at 168 for 10 years. It's a long time. So now, I want to, just strictly focus on 175 or cruiserweight, and I will not go down to 168 for Canelo or for Crawford.
Mm. Finally, from me, I don't want to keep up too much of your time. You're on your way to the open workouts now. Visualization is a part of every single camp. You'll be thinking about this fight with Anthony Yarde as you put those hard yards into training. When you close your eyes and you think about this fight, what do you say?
I see a great performance on my end. I see a tough fight. I'm not gonna lie. I see Anthony Yarde, a tough customer that's gonna keep trying to come forward. But I just feel like I'm on a different level right now. I'm very motivated, and I've trained myself accordingly to this fight. I've been training for a long, long time. I've been training for almost 4 months and a half. And because I knew that there was a big fight on the horizon, and this is not the big fight that maybe everybody wanted, but this is going to be a good fight for boxing. Like I said, I want to bring back that old boxing Those old boxing fights where two fighters are not backing down from each other. They're going in there trying to take each other's head off every single round. And this is exactly what it's going to be. And I'm excited for it. Like I said, I never shy away from these type of fights. I welcome them. So I'm excited to give the fans what they want to see.